Greetings.
Today, I, Divyana Sharma, and my friend Tanmay Kotwal of Class 9th F are going to present our presentation on behalf of our Group D. The topic of the presentation is Forest Society and Colonialism.
So let's begin by introducing the team. Kashvi Mahajan, the group captain and presentation collaborator. Asmi Mahajan, the hard copy creator. Siddharth Mehra, the animator. Divyana Sharma and Tanmay Kotwal, the voiceover artists.
Ajitesh Sharma, Tanshu Parihar, Adhyay Diwan, Keerthi Singh, and Asma, the content creators. Firstly, before dividing into the topic, let us understand the meaning of simple term colonialism. So, what is colonialism? Colonialism is both a practice and a worldview. As a practice, it involves domination of society by settlers from a different society. And as a worldview, colonialism is truly a global, geopolitical, economic, and cultural doctrine. It is rooted in the worldwide expansion of West European capitalism that survived until well after the collapse of most colonial empires. Now let us see how colonialism was seen in India. European colonialism in India was a long and dark period in the country's history. The British Empire invaded India and took control of the country, ruling it for over 200 years. During this time, the British implemented several policies that severely damaged Indian society. For much of India's history, it was ruled by foreign powers, first by Portuguese, then the Dutch, followed by the British. Each of these colonial powers left their marks on Indian society in a variety of ways. Now let's understand colonialism with the help of an example. The famine of 1854 that had struck in the Madras presidency caused a great destruction of relief to the sufferers. The major cause of this famine was the colonial government's policy of laissez-faire in the trade of food grains.
So now let's move to our main topic, how colonialism affect the biodiversity. The colonialism rule affect the biodiversity in many ways, out of which the most important is deforestation. Excessive cutting of trees and clearing of the forest for development or human settlements is referred to as deforestation. Reasons for deforestation. As population increased over the centuries and the demand for the food went up, peasants extended the boundaries of cultivation by clearing the lands. British thought that forests were unproductive land as they yield no revenue nor agricultural produce. Cultivation was seen as a sign of progress. Large areas of natural forest were cleared for the tea, coffee, and rubber plantation. Thus, land was given to planters at cheap rates. Another way which contributed in destroying biodiversity is by commercial forestry. British were worried that the use of forest by local people and reckless felling of trees by the traders would destroy the forest and hence invited German expert Dietrich Brandes as first Inspector General of Forest in India. Brandes set up the Indian Forest Service in 1864 and helped formulate the Indian Forest Act of 1865. The Imperial Forest Research Institute was set up in Dehradun in 1906. Scientific forestry was taught there. In the scientific forestry system, with the different kinds of trees were replaced by the plantation. Forest management plans were made by the forest officials. They planned how much of the forest had to be cut and how much to be replanted. After the Forest Act was enacted in 1865, it was amended twice, once in 1878 and then in 1927. The act divided the forest into three categories: reserved, protected, and village forest. The Forest Act of 1865 was quite humiliating as it forbade village people their certain rights. Villagers could not take anything from these forests even for their own use. For house building or fuel, they could take wood from protected or village forest. The best forests are called reserve forest. So let us see how colonialism affect the survival of indigenous communities. What forests and villagers wanted from the forest. Villagers wanted forest with a mixture of species to satisfy different needs: fuel, fodder, leaves. Villagers use forest products, roots, leaves, fruits. Fruits and tubers are nutritious to eat. Herbs are used for medicine. Wood for agriculture implements like yokes, plough. Bamboo makes excellent fences and is also used to make umbrellas. Almost everything is available in the forest. Leaves can be stitched together to make disposable plates and cups. Creeper can be used to make ropes, and the bark of the summer tree is used to grate vegetables. What forest department wanted from forest? The forest department, on the other hand, wanted trees which were suitable for building and railways. They needed trees that could provide hardwood, trees that were tall and straight. So particular species like teak and sal were promoted and other trees were cut. Forest Act meant serve hardship for villagers across the country. After the act, all their everyday practice cutting wood for their houses, grazing their cattle, collecting fruits and roots, hunting and fishing became illegal. People were now forced to steal wood from the forest, and if they were caught, they were at the mercy of the forest guard who would take bribe from them. Women who collected fuel wood were especially worried. It was also common for police constables and forest guards to harass people by demanding free food from them. Shifting cultivation or Sweden agriculture is a traditional agricultural practice in many parts of Asia, Africa, and South America. In India, it has many local names such as Jhum, Dhaya, Penda, Bewar, Nived, Podu, and Kumri. In shifting cultivation, parts of forest are cut and burned in rotation. Seeds are sown in the ashes after the first monsoon rains, and crop is harvested by October and November. Such plots are cultivated for a couple of years and then left fallow for 12 to 18 years for the forest to grow back. A mixture of crop is grown on these plots. European forests regard this practice as harmful for the forest as the land was used for cultivation every few years could not grow trees for railway timber. When a forest was burnt, there was the added danger of flames spreading and burning valuable timber. The new forest laws changed the lives of forest dwellers. Before the forest law, the indigenous communities that live in or near forests survived by the hunting deer, partridges, and a variety of small animals. This customary practice were prohibited by the forest law, and those who were caught hunting were punished for poaching. During this period, hunting of big game became a sport. In India, hunting of tigers and animals had been a part of culture of the court and the nobility for centuries. Many Mughal paintings show princes and emperors enjoying a hunt, but under colonial rule, the scale of hunting increased to such an extent that various species became also extinct. The British law saw large animals as a sign of wild, primitive, and savage society. They believed that by killing dangerous animals, the British would civilize India. They gave rewards for the killing tigers, wolves, and other large animals on the ground that they posed a threat to cultivators.
How did indigenous communities react on forest laws? When people lost out in many ways after the forest department took control of the forest, some people benefited from the new opportunities that had opened up in trade. Many communities left their traditional occupations and started trading in forest products. In India, the trade in forest products was not new. From the medieval period onwards, we have records of Adivasis communities trading in elephants and other goods like hides, horns, silk, cocoons, ivory, bamboo, spices, fibers, and resins through nomadic communities like Banjaras. With the coming of the British, trade was completely regulated by the government. The British government gave many large European trading firms the sole right to trade in the forest products of particular areas. Hunting and grazing by the local people were restricted. People of Bastar. It was basically a rebellion that was initiated by the people of Bastar against the new forest laws that restricted many things to the foresters and villagers. A number of communities live in Bastar, such as Maria and Muria Gonds, Durvas, Bhatras, and Halbas. They share common customs and beliefs, make some offerings at each agricultural festival. Some villages also protect their forests by engaging watchmen, and each household contributes some grain to pay them. Some villages were allowed to stay on in the reserved forests on the condition that they worked free for the forest department in cutting and transporting trees. Hope it was knowledgeable enough. Thank you.